So for starting with character models, we should begin with model sheet. A model sheet is a drawing of the front view and the side view of the same character. You can have more than two views, it's up to you, but minimum of front and side view is necessary. So you can see that this picture, this is our front view and this is our side view. Now depending on the drawing, sometimes it may not match 100% the exact same, but we can adjust that based on the drawings that we have. So let's go ahead and first bring in this picture inside Maya. We can go to the side view and the front view and bring in the same picture, and we can align them based on the side view. We can put side drawing, and the front view we can put the front drawing. I'll go ahead and choose view, image plane, import image, 4/4 views of father. Okay, so I got in the picture. Now make sure that once you got in here, don't scroll your mouse or zoom in or zoom out. That will change the scale of the image plane that we have imported. So without doing anything, just go ahead and create the other image plane. So I got it. Open that up. So now we end up with two image planes based on two cameras. One is a front camera, one is a side camera. Okay, so now the next job is to position these two image planes so that we can create the drawing, create the model in the center area. So I'll go ahead and first push both of these up, so that I always consider the grid as the ground plane, so we have to make sure that the feet of the character is on the grid. So let's select and go to channel box. Okay, so when you select the image plane, when you go to the channel box, you should be able to see the image center X, Y, and Z value. So these are the values that will help us to move the image plane. Now if you have a different version of Maya, sometimes you might just be selecting with a camera, then you'll find this image plane shape 2 or shape 1 depending on which image plane you have selected. Okay, down here in the bottom, so you'll have to go ahead, go to the inputs and click on that in order to expand this. In my case, it is there just by selecting the image plane. So first I'll push up the Y, so I'll select the Y value. I'll use middle mouse button and click and drag to push up. Okay, so I'm going to consider this as my side view, so I'll push it up until I get there. Okay, and I can see that the front view and the side view are not exactly matching, so it's okay, you can approximately do that. Now my center Y value is 7.7, so I'll make sure that I'll give the same exact value for Y axis on the other one, so that both of the image planes height will match exactly the same. So I'll give 7.7 here, so I can see that it matches up perfectly. Good. Now we have to push both of these out backwards, so that we will have the origin area to be free for us to make the model. So this one I'll have to push it backwards here, so that would be x-axis. So in x-axis I will push it back, so that would be, let me give minus 12 or 15, something like that. Okay, good enough. And here I want to show the front view, so I will also move it in z-axis. So in z-axis, let's move it, and we have to be very precise on this. We have to make sure that the object's center is precisely aligned with the origin, because we will be actually modeling just one side of the character and we will be mirroring to the other side. So if it is not placed correctly, then you will not find the exact measurement that you have created. Okay, so I'll make sure that it is exactly going through the center. You can use this hair as the reference point to make sure that it is precisely aligned to the center. Now we'll work on the other view. I'll select this and push it back, that is z-axis. Okay, so let me give something like minus 12 or minus 14, minus 15, whatever it is. And here I have to align the side view in the center, so I'll have to do that from x-axis. Okay, I'll move it approximately. I think that looks good. Fine. So with that, we have aligned both our front view and the side view exactly to our needs. Now we can start the modeling process. Now modeling can be done with many different ways. The one that I'm going to show you right now is called box modeling. So basically the modeling starts with a simple box, and then we will extrude the box, modify the box in order to form whatever shape we want. So I'll go ahead and create a cube. I'll press 5 in all these views so that I can see the shaded mode, but the shaded mode will basically hide the drawing that we have once we make it bigger, for example, like that. You can see that the drawing is actually hiding. So in order to make the drawing also visible and the geometry also visible, we can change the view mode to X-ray mode up here. If you click on X-ray mode, you will actually find both the geometry and the drawing. So I'll do that in all the views. I mean these two views. Perspective is not a problem, we can see it in 3D. I think I'll have to undo a couple of times because it has moved from the origin. Okay, I'll try to push it back to the same place. Okay. Now I'll scale it down. I will start with the main body. Okay, I'll scale it up. Okay, so we'll start the bottom area, we'll try to keep it at hip, and the top one we'll try to put it at the neck area. Okay, I think here it is a little too much. We can adjust that, not a problem. Now from the front view, I have to take a duplicate to the other side. So what I'll do is I will push these two vertices to the center. So I'll press and hold X key, or I'll turn on my grid snap and click and drag. So that would basically align it to the center of the object, center of the origin. And I will also delete one side. Okay, now what I can do is I can make a mirror to the other side. Now when you do this, you have to be very clear that your pivot point is exactly at the center. If the pivot point is not at the center, then you will not get the mirror or duplicate in the right way that you expected. So once I have done that, I will go ahead and choose edit, duplicate special, options. Okay, so I'll reset everything. Most important thing to keep in mind, you have to turn on the instance. So whatever changes you make in one side, it will get affected in the other side. Let me check the axis of mirror. It is Z axis. So in Z axis I will give -1, and I'll say duplicate special, and there you go. So now you notice when I make a change in one side, I'll turn off this. Okay, when I make one change in one side, it also affects the other side. Great. Now let me go ahead and position this based on our need. Push it closer. Okay, I'll look at the front view. Push this closer to the neck. Push this away a bit. Okay, now I will start to add edge loops in the middle. Okay, I can also do connect components. I'll select everything and go to edit mesh and choose connect components. So that adds up an edge loop. So now I can go back to my side view. I can just modify these things. I'll choose these two vertices, pull it forward. I'll keep that there. I'll do the same thing in the front view. I'll do the necessary changes. Okay, I'll add another connect components here. Shift right click and connect components. I'll push it closer. I'll do the same here. I'll select all these edges, connect components, push it up. From here I can actually create a shoulder area. I hope so. Let me look at the side view. Side view. So whenever we add edge loops, we have to check in all the views. to make sure that the model is nicely aligned. Okay, that's good enough. Look at the perspective. Okay, so I will have to make this a little slimmer. Okay, I'll select these two, push it closer. I can do that for all these faces. Select all these faces, make it slim. I'll push it a little backwards. We can add more edge loops here later. Press 3. That's good enough. Make some fine changes depending on the need. Okay, I think that is good enough. Now we can extrude the hand from here. Now while extruding the hand, it is always better to keep the hand flowing straight instead of pushing it down. We call it a T-pose. So since the drawing shows it downwards, we'll just try to approximately be the same length, but we'll push it to the side. So I'll hold the shift key and right click and choose extrude face. I'll change to move tool. I'll push it out. Let me scale it to make it straight. I'll have to make it a bit thinner. Okay, I think I will have to push these two things a little bit down, somewhere there. Okay, so I think that length is almost matching the same here. I'll make it a bit more thinner. Okay, good enough. Now I will add an edge loop here. Shift right click, connect components. Okay, let me select all these edge loops, push it up, push it a little sidewise. Select this, push it up. I'll make it, scale it down. Select all these. Push it closer. I think I'll go to the side view and push all these things a little bit down. It's too much lifted up. Push it down, push it down. Now we'll have to constantly checking all the sides, all the views, because it might look good from one view, but it might not look good from other views. So we'll have to keep on constantly checking all the views to make sure that it is perfect. Now, any place that you're having bending, it is always recommended to have at least 3 edge loops so that you can create nice rigs later. So I'll go ahead and add a couple of edge loops here. Before that, I'll put one in the middle. Select all these edges, connect components. Okay, good enough. I will do one more this way to add more detail. To connect components here. I can push these things a little bit out so that it will become a bit more rounded than how it was before. Select these two, scale them in. scale it. I don't think that is going to give a good result. I'll just try to push these vertices down. Now when you move vertices in your perspective view, it is always recommended to use any of the axes. Don't move it from the center unless it is very much necessary. It is always better to move it in any of these axes one by one, so that you'll make sure that you're not moving them in multiple degrees at the same time. So now let's go ahead and make smooth and see how that looks. Okay, I will have to add more edge loops here. Select, right click, insert edge loop tool. I will add one here and one more here, just like that. Make it a little bigger, and I'll push these two vertices actually. I'll push just this one a little bit inside, and these ones we will push them up. And let's have an edge loop here. We can also do something called slide edge tool that will just push it a little bit up. Just push it up just to create some kind of a little muscle there, but for this character it's not needed. You can just have an edge loop there, and we'll have to add a couple of edge loops here. Shift right click, insert edge loop tool. I will add two, one front, one in the back. Okay, I'll have to add one more at this end just to define that shape, that area. We'll create the hands later. Smooth that out, that looks good. We'll be able to bend it also later. Now before starting with this rigging process, we might have to make some small modeling changes, which we can do later. Now apart from that, I'll just extrude this neck area. Let me see how that area looks. I think that's good size. It's not too big. Might have to push it a little bit closer. Okay, I'll select this face, extrude face. Now when you extrude a face like this, that is near the origin, you will notice that there is actually a face that is extra created here. So we'll have to make sure that we delete this face. So I'll delete this, then I'll push it closer. Now we can select these. We can either select this edge, or it is better to select just this vertex and press X. Snap it to the grid. Snap it to the grid. Now let me see. I think that is good enough. We'll continue modeling the head in the next lecture. So let's just keep it like that for now. Okay, that's good enough. Now I'll go ahead and extrude for the bottom, for the legs. I'll do one extrude. I'll push it down till here. Look at the side view. I'll have to push it further down. Might have to. Okay, I think that is good enough. I'll push this vertex a little bit closer so that I can extrude the legs from this one side. So push this also closer. We can add more edge loops in the middle if needed. I'll push these ones. bit more closer. Okay, maybe I will have to add one edge loop throughout this edge ring. We'll add that later, not a problem. For now, I'll try to make this more like a square so that it'll be easy for us to extrude the legs. Try to make it look something like that. I'll just make these two a bit scaled out. I'll just go ahead and do the extrude and then modify it depending on the need. I'll go ahead and select this face, extrude. I'll push it down. Let me look at the side view. Okay, I'll push it till the leg. I'll go ahead and scale that out, push it there, scale it out a little bit, something like that. Okay, and I think I will just rotate this a little bit to make it straight. Okay. Okay, I think that is good enough. I will have to scale this in. Okay, I will add one more edge loop here. I'll press up arrow, shift right click and choose connect components. Now whenever we add an edge loop, we have to make sure that we smooth that surface. I will select all these edges and I will slide them to the left, shift right click, slide edge tool. I'll slide them to the left. Okay, I think that looks good. We should always try to maintain some same amount of spacing between each of these edge loops. So let me select these, and I'll use the same tool, slide edge tool, slide it slightly to the left. Okay, and we'll have to do the same thing here. Select this and until here, slide edge tool, slide it to the right. Okay, we'll do the same for these, slide it slightly to the right. Okay, and probably I will slide these also slightly to the right, so that will make sure that we're having even spacing between each of these edge loops. Okay. Okay, so once we got that, I can push these things inside. I'll push these vertices inside. Okay, push this also inside. And a couple of these vertices, push them in so that we will have some nice rounded shape for the legs that is coming up. Okay, push these also inside. Okay, so once we got that, I can just select these two edges, scale them down. Okay, so now we have a nice shape that is coming for the leg. We will have to do some more little changes here. I'll push this a little bit down. This has become too small. I'll push it out. I'll connect components now. Select edge, select all these edges, connect components. Okay, so push these ones back. We'll have to add one more edge loop and see if that can fix the problem. Basically one or two more depending on the need. So push these ones forward. I'll add one more edge loop here. Connect components. Let's try to push this also outwards. Okay, I'll select this vertex. Okay, I think we'll have to add one more. Just add one, pull this a little bit forward a bit. Okay, then add one more here. Select all these, connect components just to get that shape right. Okay, that is good. Let's go ahead and smooth that out and see how that looks. Okay, I think I've got some problem with the extrude here. I'll select these faces. The same thing that I told you with the neck. I'll have to delete these faces so that it will attach nicely. We'll have to make a little more changes here. Push them outside a bit. It is always recommended not to modify when you're in smooth mode. So you can just come back to non-smooth mode and then you can modify and then you can bring it back to smooth mode. Okay, so that is done. Let's add a couple of more edge loops just to make it smooth and nice. I'll add one here. Connect components. Now every time you add an edge loop, you have to tweak it, push it closer, push this a little bit out. Let's look at the side view. We'll have to push it slightly out, and that's good enough. Let me go ahead and choose edge, select all these edges, connect components. I think there's no big changes there. I'll just pull them a little bit out. Okay, I'll add one more edge loop here. Sorry, select edge, connect components. Oops. Sometimes it's adding more than one edge loop. That is because it is when I click and drag, it is selecting the ones that are in the other side also. So just when that happens, you can just deselect it and select again, making sure that you're only selecting one side. So just make that small change. I think that is good enough. Let me smooth that out and see how that looks. Okay, that is nice. That looks perfect. We can add the belt later, or you can just add it as a texture. It's up to you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish up with the legs. Now the legs are scaled out too much. Scale it down, push it in, something like that. Now the two sides of two legs are not exactly the same, so we can pick any one of them and you can model it based on that. Look at the side view. I think that is good enough. I will add an edge loop in the middle for the knee area. Connect components, push it a little bit to the center. Okay, I will add two edge loops, one in the front, one in the back. For this I will use insert edge loop tool, select, right click, insert edge loop tool. So I'll add one here and one here. Okay, and one I'll have in the bottom. I'll have some 3 here. I already have 1, 2, and third one. I'll add 1 in the middle. I'll just scale it slightly up just to show a little definition there. I will have to push these 2 edges a little bit inside because we will have a bending coming here. We can tweak these things when we do the rigging part depending on the need. So for now you just have to know that these are the areas that will have bend, so accordingly you can modify it. Okay, so that's just the base model. Then we'll have to make the hands, legs, and the head, which we'll see in the next lecture.